Powered by Elodic Digital Marketing Solutions.
The Couture 303 podcast is now officially sponsored by Dapper Turkish Barbers in Hunts Cross. You can find them on Wood End Avenue and they do the full service there. The hair, the beard, the ears, the nose, the cutthroat, the hot towels, the lot. It's the only barbers I ever go to. Fantastic service, great lads. No need to book, just pop in and see them 7 days a week. If you want a nice sick fade like mine, you will not be disappointed. The absolute best in the area. That's Dapper Turkish Barbers, Wood End Avenue, Hunts Cross. And now back to the show.
The Couture 303 podcast with Jay Viper.
Welcome back to the show, guys, and welcome to a very special episode of the Couture 303 podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll recognise I'm not in my kitchen, I'm not in my house, I'm not even in my city. I've travelled down to Crewe to meet today's guest. He's a DJ, he's an MC, he's a music producer, and he's a fucking hell of a nice guy. Please welcome to the show, Andy Demize.
How's it going, my mate?
How are you, mate?
Mate, this is wicked. Finally.
So first things first, credit where it's due. I want to give a big shout out to our mate Jenko. So as I always do with my podcast, I tell you how these come about. So Jenko, as you know, did the podcast with me, and I've known Jenko for fucking 24 years.
It's mad that we've never crossed paths.
I worked with him for 14 years, and then we both went our separate ways, and we got back in touch quite recently. And he said, my mate Andy will do a podcast. I was like, oh yeah, okay. And a couple of WhatsApps later, I was like, got a new best mate here.
Here we are. Yeah.
We just hit it off straight away. We've got a lot in common. We'll get to that on the podcast. Anyway, so as I always do with all my guests, first question, which you probably know what's coming.
I do.
Where and when were you born, mate?
So, well, this is going to sound like a few of your other podcasts, this, isn't it? Because it seems like Crosby is a very talent-filled area, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then, you know, present company excluded, like.
So, born in 1982 in Crosby. Funnily enough, and I was always destined to be a DJ.
Yeah.
My ma's waters broke on Secret's dance floor.
Fuck off. Fucking hell.
Yeah, so 24th of December.
Yeah.
1982.
So are you born Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
No, 27th.
Fuck off. She
waters broke 24th of December.
You were nearly called Holly.
I know, yeah. Thank God it wasn't a girl.
So what's your home unit like? Brothers, sisters, mum, dad?
Single. So just me and my mum.
Yeah.
Just me and my mum.
Again, this is another thing we got in common. First tick in the box there.
First tick in the box. I won't go into it. But no, do you know what? All credit to my mother.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, we've got quite a big family. My mum's got a twin sister, but they relocated down to Hastings when I was quite young. My grandfather, big influence in my life. Massive influence in my life.
Second tick in the box.
But again, he died when I was quite young as well. But the thing was...
How old?
He was 57. I was only like 3 or 4.
Okay.
But the thing was, he was such a figure that his legend has lived on. Do you know what I mean? People throw petals at my ma's feet. Do you know what I mean? You're Billy Oltie's daughter. You're Billy Oltie's grand.
Yeah,
you know, it's one of them sort of scenarios. So he's always been there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even I'm not into football, but my granddad.
Another tick in the box.
my granddad brought me up saying you support Liverpool. Do you know one of them type of things?
Another tick in the box.
Yeah. So yeah, just me and my mum growing up. But like I say, all credit to her.
So what was your school life like? Were you a good kid in school, naughty kid?
I want to say I was a good kid, but I was a little bastard, mate. I was a little bastard.
In what sense? Disruptive?
Just mischievous, class clown kind of thing. but
I run out of fucking boxes. I'm not going to bother anymore.
But then as I got older, it did become a little bit more. I don't know. I wasn't a vicious kid, but like I was smoking weed and all this, you know, getting into trouble in the park, drinking with the kids and all that kind of stuff. You know what
did you? So, I think that the school system. How can I put it? There's a lot of room for improvement. I'll say that. Now, you could have been fantastic at 1 or 2 subjects, but because of your behaviour, shall we say, or your attitude, that would never been discovered. Now, I think there's a lot of people who didn't do well in school, who've excelled in life or excelled in certain subjects or excelled in certain avenues that they've gone down. And I just don't think that it doesn't recognise that.
No.
All they want you to do is comply. You know, and we've had this conversation before about music in schools is a fucking margarine tub full of fucking beans or a triangle. That's not music. I'm 48. I've never seen anyone playing a fucking tambourine on side my whole life.
I was always, it's the same old scenario. Parents even and the teachers saying, do you know what? He's such an intelligent lad. If he just applied himself.
Lacks concentration.
Same
distracted.
scenario. Yeah, and I didn't do too bad with qualifications and all that kind of stuff. And I've always succeeded in jobs and whatever else I've done in the future. But yeah, school was just a piss around for me. And I regret it now.
Yeah, that solidifies my point. I left school with no qualifications at all. I didn't do my exams. I'm fucking 48 years of age. I've only been unemployed for I think 6 months of my life.
I've never been unemployed.
Do you know what I mean?
Always been a worker.
So what you leave school with doesn't necessarily put you on the path. You know,
Yeah.
if you leave school with no qualifications, the system says you're going to be a failure. You're going to be a fucking a layabouts, and that's not the case at all.
I know. I think school for me was a bit more of a life lessons. You know what I mean? Growing up with a bit of streetwise and all that kind of thing. But look, I mean, I've got a fair few qualifications, but not one of my jobs a result of any of my qualifications. Do you know what I mean? And when I come out of school, I wanted to be a chef, and I got into chefing.
Well, we'll talk. Like, I've seen some of your cakes, mate. Fucking hell.
Like, this is a recent thing, the old cakes thing. I've never been a pastry chef. Just something I've just turned my hand to, and
fucking hell.
Yeah, done quite well.
So back to your younger days then. Obviously, you had no brothers and sisters. You didn't, like myself, didn't have a big family. So when were you, do you remember when you were first exposed to music and what it was and what the first caught your ear?
Do you know what? Music has always been a defining thing in my life. My mum was into Fleetwood Mac, Cher, all of those 80s ballads as well. Now, my mum was a biker as well. Yeah. So I had a lot of a rock influence and like Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, Metallica, AC/DC. I've actually seen all of them live now.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, and Guns N' Roses, I've seen them 3 times now.
I haven't seen Guns N' Roses. Out of them 4, I've seen AC/DC twice. I've seen Metallica. I've seen Iron Maiden. I haven't seen Guns N' Roses, but the second time I seen AC/DC, Axl Rose was singing for them. So,
mate. Do you know what? How well did he do?
Mate, I had this conversation yesterday with a mate of mine called Benji. Shout out to Benji. And I said to him, when that concert, it's a little bit of an aside here, but when that concert got announced, I was like, fucking hell. Axl Rose, as we know, got a reputation for being a bit of a fucking diva. Yeah. He turns up late. He storms off stage. You know, he's got his little hissy fits. But I think he had too much respect for Angus. So he didn't do that. So anyway, when we get... I took my missus. And my missus likes Rihanna and Beyonce. And she's seen Pink and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, oh, God, AC/DC really? I said, just come with me. Got no one else to go with. It'll be fun. You might like it. You might enjoy it. So it was in the Etihad Stadium in Manchester. As per usual, we get driving down. Some fella beckons us in. Park here. Parks the car. It was about fucking a 15-minute walk to the fucking stadium. So as we're walking down, there's all these signs. Woo, woo, woo. And fucking meh. Cavalcade blocks the fucking road off. And this convoy goes past. And I said, that'll be them. That'll be them. And she went, fuck off. I went, seriously? So as we're walking down, we Googled his net worth and all that. He's fucking worth, Axl's worth millions. Yeah. I said, that'll be them. I guarantee it. That was them. And he gets there. We're up in the gods. And there was, as you know, we go to an AC/DC concert. There's always someone dressed up as Angus, isn't there? Yeah. This fella stood at the back, like obviously it's the Etihad Stadium where the pitch bit is. This fella stood at the back of the pitch like that with his school uniform on for the whole show doing that. My bird was mesmerised by him. Anyway, they came on stage. And again, AC/DC are notoriously a loud band. Mm-hmm. They came on. I remember looking at my bird, and she had this look of like fear, like she's never heard anything that loud in her life. Anyway, they came on. Axl fucking blew. Oh my God, he was absolutely sensational. You ask my missus today, she's seen Pink, Rihanna, Beyonce, Little Mix. She's seen fucking. You ask her what the best concert I've been to. She's AC/DC.
Mate, you want to go and ask my missus? So I've got the same tick. I've got the same scenario. So when Guns N' Roses first reformed again,
yes.
So in 2016, and this was just before Christmas, and I was like, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going, blah, blah, blah. Tickets came out. We just spent all our money for Christmas on the kids. We were skint. Tickets came out, sold out in a day. And I was devastated. And I kept looking online every single day, blah, blah. I said to her, I said, right after Christmas, I don't care how much it costs me. I'm going to Europe. I'm going wherever. I'm going.
And you're coming with me.
She said, okay. No, she said, okay, sound. Christmas morning, I woke up. She'd been on the phone to me mate a couple of weeks ago, sent him the money for the
Shut
tickets.
up.
He'd sorted the tickets, opens up this card, mate. Your time to rock, baby, and a mate. I just burst into tears.
It just, I mean,
but
music.
then, so I went to that one.
You fucking
And
will
then
be
when we
sorry.
were living in Spain, they were playing in Seville.
Yeah.
So she got me tickets again. But then she come with me on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
And like, it's not her thing at all. But she had a blast. She just
Yeah,
walked away from there going, that was amazing.
I'm a fan.
yeah, 100%. 100%.
On a separate note now, so obviously I've been with Mrs. for 13 years. When we got together, I was in this massive big break of DJing. So my DJ career was like a thing of the past. She'd seen the videos on YouTube and, you know, I'd done little mixes in the house. But Jenny's not into like rave at all. She used to go to the 051 and, you know, bars and you know, more drinking than raving. And it's only the past 12 months when my DJ career started picking up a little bit and she's come to events, she's like, oh, fuck, it's all right, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you looked at a playlist 12 months ago to a playlist now, it's fucking Andy Whitby. And she's listening to my music and I've conversed there, yeah.
But yeah, so music's always been a big influence. And there's things that my mum used to listen to. Have you got like a guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a guilty pleasure that I listen to all the time. When I was a kid, my mum and I used to hate it when I was a kid with a passion. She used to listen to Dr. Hook.
Oh my God, my mum had Dr. Hook albums.
Mate.
You had the eye patch on?
Yeah. And like, I used to hate it when I was a kid, but now it's in my playlist on Spotify. Like, I absolutely love it. It just takes you back, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Music's a memory. So I've got all of that influence, and me rock side's never left. But I'm dead eclectic, mate. Good music's good music. Doesn't matter what the genre is. If it's good music, it's good music.
I like a bit of Billy Joel, mate. I love Billy Joel.
Mate, I've got Dionne Warwick. I've got like the amount of you go through. I've got a playlist on Spotify, and it's just random songs that take me back to a time.
Yeah,
it's a playlist of memories. Do you know what I mean? And it's so diverse. You know, you can be listening to Underworld 1 minute, and then listening to, you know, Love Don't Live Here Anymore, and there's the next track. You know, it's just so random. But yeah, I never really got into the dance thing until much later on.
So very similar to yourself. Again, back to Benji, the lad I was talking about before. I've got a podcast coming up with a guy called Mike Nola. Now, for those who don't know who Mike Nola is single-handedly responsible for bringing dance music to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And he's known as the Quad Father because Quadrant Park in Liverpool, back in the very early 90s, you'd have the Hacienda in Manchester, Quadrant Park in Liverpool, when the whole acid house scene exploded in the UK. Excuse me. Mike Nola, with his friend Andy Carroll, and a guy called John Kelly, they were the three main residents in Quadrant Park. And I was talking to my mate Benji because he's from Bootle. And he said, did you ever go to Quad? And I said, one, it was just before my time. I was slightly too young. And if I look back, I was probably still playing my fucking He-Man figures and Transformers back then. My mate Benji's a year or so older than me. He's tall, a lot more streetwise back then. And he lived in Bootle. I said, and plus, I said, back in 1991, I was still listening to AC/DC and Guns N' Roses and Pantera. Yeah. I hadn't discovered dance music. It was only like probably late 92, early 93, you start listening to tapes and you'd hear MCs for the first time and you're like, oh, what's this? And I remember hearing Cyanide, Jump Around, Don't Mind You. But I was like, oh, this is good, this. Remember going to town and going into Groover for the first time and getting a tape, and I'd seen Carl Cox. And I think I just like you don't know what you're getting, you don't know what you, but I knew Carl Cox was a name worth getting. Yeah. So I got this. My first ever tape was Carl Cox from the Dome, 1993 with MC Majika, and it was a double pack. Like you get two tapes on the same night. So the next time I went back, I got the Dave Graham and Cyanide one. And yeah, as they say, the rest is history.
So that must have been. So what was that? New Year.
No, it wasn't New Year because I had a copy of the New Year tape. This was just early. It was 93. I think it was 93 when Dave Graham left the Drome and went to start his night in the 051. Which again, looking back on the history of it, in my mind's eye, that was the start of the 051. But it wasn't. The 051 was a club way before Dave Graham was there. Yeah. But when you're a kid, you just so your generation is you think that's the fucking you were the first people on the fucking planet.
You would look if you listen back to a tape from then, you wouldn't think it was club music. It's a different. It's different.
Well, it was all classed as hardcore back then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was like breakbeat hardcore piano stuff. You know, I remember hearing D-Ream, You're the Best Thing in the Drone. Crazy to even say it out loud, but that was a
think
thing.
Of it now, it's just a chart tune.
Little Bird, Annie Lennox, the Utah Saints remix. Fucking quality tune, by the way.
Yeah,
and again,
still
going back
remixed today.
Yeah, I remember when that my eldest lad, he's in his 20s now, like, but when he was first born, and I was still DJing with vinyl back then. I remember coming back from the hospital. I'd been in the hospital for like 2 days. I had no sleep and all that. And I went in, there was a little red card through my door. Postman's been, he'd gone next door. So I went next door and my vinyl turned up and I put Little Bird on. I'd been after it for years. It was one of those Tuesday. When it first came out, it was 99 pence. And it eluded me and I never got it. And then next thing you know, it's fucking 25, 30 quid on fucking hard to find records. Tracked it down on eBay, bought it. It came while my little lad was being born. So I was tired. I was emotional. I got this tune after years. I put it on my decks. I played it, and I fucking burst out crying because it was just everything just combined: joy, happiness, tiredness, the lot. Yeah, music's fucking incredible. It's
hard. You don't find that. I
mean,
mean,
that's a bit of a West Side out thing about it.
But that's going back to the vinyl days. That's going back to that nostalgia of vinyl and what vinyl was all about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I've heard on your podcast, and you've said it, and you're completely right. It didn't sound better. It wasn't better. Like, but
it's got that nostalgic value.
There was just
so many
drawbacks.
So many drawbacks to vinyl.
Going vinyl picking. Do you know what I mean? Just
that's it.
The meeting up with people and
it was the record shops.
Yeah.
It was the physically rifling through and pulling. Oh, yeah. I've got. Is this what I think it is?
Yeah.
And you go over to the booth, put it on.
Yeah.
And then you'd get home. You couldn't wait to mix it into something. Or you'd buy the track that you were after. You put the B-side on and go, oh my God, listen to this.
100%.
Listen to this.
Look, do you remember when Donk and Scouse House first started blowing up in Liverpool, and there was a Tracy Chapman Fast Cars remix that just blew up, and it was getting played everywhere, and I needed it because my ma was massively into Tracy Chapman.
Of course,
so
it's a crossover one, isn't it?
It was one of them things. So I went to town, couldn't find it. Went round every single shop in town, couldn't find it. I was like, fuck this. Jumped on the train, went to Birmingham, went to Hard to Find Records, and they found it for me. And I come home and I'd spent, must have been about 30, 40 quid in train fares and all of that to just go and get this one vinyl that cost me $5.
But you appreciated it.
It was everything. I've still got that vinyl today.
That's the thing, you see, it's the appreciation value. Like, I could go online now. I mean, I've got mates there, you'll go, yeah, I'll send you, whatever, 200 tunes. You've got 200 tunes in one go. Yeah. You don't really appreciate it because some of them you won't even listen to.
Yeah.
But back then, when, like you say, you went to town or you went out of town, you rifle through the shop. As you well know, sometimes you go to town and come back empty-handed. Sometimes you'd get fucking force-fed this piece of shit. Yeah. You'd walk in freebies and they put up. And for me, it was always like the peer pressure. You'd walk into freebies and you were a kid anyway, so you felt a little bit like. Yeah. And they'd put it on.
They're telling you it's cool. Then take it.
This, you've got to have this, and they put it on the shops thing.
Yeah.
And you're like. Yeah, nodding like, it's good to see. You go get home and think it's fucking shite. Yeah. And he sat there, 8 quid to soft cunts. So when did you first start? So your music, like me, your music takes you into rock. When did it start to change where you start to pay attention to dance music?
It was one of my uncles gave
was
me
he a special
tape.
Uncle?
He was.
Did he give you pocket money in the bath?
No, but what he did give me, I'll treasure forever. And it was a tape from the Drome.
Yeah,
it was Philly and Tricks,
New
Year, and that tape. You can actually find the sets on YouTube. I've gone back.
I've got them all as MP3s.
Oh, mate. So this Philly
was it 92 to 93?
92 to 93.
Welcome
Philly
to 93.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
All the people over there, clap your hands.
We rush you in. And I rinsed that tape. I used to put me Walkman on, you know what I mean, with me big headphones and just ride me bike around. Yeah. And I've just got memories, and that was the turning point. And I was like, yeah, I'm into this. I like this.
So the first thing you got off your uncle was a tape, because they say don't think anal sex is like your first car. you might not want it, but your uncle's going to give it to you anyway.
Nah, I didn't fancy him, to be honest.
It wasn't your type.
It wasn't my type.
So you got your first tape with the Drome, 6 in Philly, 92, 93.
Yeah.
And that was the turning point.
That was it, yeah. That's yeah.
So when did it become, I think a lot of people, myself included, subconsciously you start buying vinyl. Were you the same?
No, because so DJing and all of this still, I must have been about 13 when I was listening to this tape. And it was just music to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? DJing wasn't even a thing. I don't even think I'd clapped eyes on a set of decks at this point.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit later on. I used to hang around with a lad called Chris, shout out Dowley. And he took me round to his mates one day, and his ma used to let us all smoke weed in the house. Do you know what I mean? It was one of them. So we went up to the top room, sitting in my mate's bedroom, and they had the decks there, and they're playing Jungle and all this, and I'm just looking at them in awe, like, wow, I've never seen a set of decks, but I was shit at smoking weed, so I was too stoned to get my head round it all. Do you know what I mean? And then shout out Jack. I mean, Jack got me into it. He used to mix them for me. And then he'd beat match them for me. Yeah. And then I'd sit there and I'd cut them up. And that's how I got into it. And it was like, he said, you need to understand how the fun part of it sort of thing. And he was like, look, it's mixed. Just have a little play with that. Just have a little play with that. So then I'd get, and that's how it started. Oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. Yeah. And I used to just go round and they were showing me little bits.
Take the hard part out. Yeah, take the hard part out. I know when I spoke to Steve Cocky last year, Steve Cocky shared a flat with Trix for years. And I think, if memory serves me correctly, it was Trix who taught Steve Cocky how to mix. And what he did was he put two of the same tracks on. Yeah. Pitched together. And mess with them, you'll get your head round, like you say, the fun part.
Yeah, you don't need to listen to two different tracks. You know what's going on.
And then once, that
makes it clean in your brain.
Yeah, it's good way to learn.
I do with my son now. So I've got on the DDJ 1000 controller, it's got the pads for effects.
That's right, yeah.
So what I started off with him doing was just play with the effects. Yeah. And what it was doing, it was getting them
phases and all that.
It was getting them
I do it with my kids
to do that roll at the right time. And he was doing it before the drop. And then he was doing this one on the drop. So I was like, okay, you're getting the structure.
Yeah, it's a good way to let
it. Mate, you want to see him now?
Yeah. Mate, you say to a kid, right, 16 beats 1, 2, it's like, fuck off, Dad.
Yeah, exactly.
That. That's not fun. Yeah, like you say, my little kids, big shout out to Madison and Elliot. Madison wants to be a DJ, so she says. And my little lad's not really that interested, but he'll have a little go. Yeah. And like you say, it's the fun part. They like spinning it back, and they like chopping it in. Like, oh, go easy on the faders there, kid. Fucking hell.
I used to put Rob Kane mixes on, and he'd sit there on the other one. Yeah. Going along with it. Going along with
Shout out to Rob Kane.
Shout out Rob, yeah.
What a fucking legend he is.
Well, so I know Rob and Ian quite well. I went to school with them. We were all in the same school. Ian was in my year. Rob was in the year above, and obviously Ian and Rob were just like that.
So when I very first started the podcast, the first ever podcast was in my mate's kitchen, Lee Hall, who runs Back to Dock. Shout out to Lee. And I had a handheld recorder, little fucking Zoom thing with a fucking dead cat on the top, on his kitchen table, and I had questions on my phone. So I'm sitting there talking to him, and I'm like, so when did you first discover dance music? Oh, mate, I listened back to it now, my fucking toes curl. Anyway, I went away and I thought, I can do better than that. That was fucking awful. No fault of Lee's at all. To be fair, I think I might do another one with Lee to kind of right the wrong about that. Because
it was only a short one though, wasn't it?
Very short. Terrible on my part. And Lee's got a much bigger story to tell. I know he has. He's had stuff going on in his past. And we didn't really brush on it because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to get the best out of the conversation. So anyway, I went away and I went, I'll do better than that. So me being me, I get like obsessed with stuff. So I'm right online then, podcast equipment, blah, 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 and I went and bought myself. It wasn't like this, but it was a similar setup. 2 mics, 2 boom arms, 2 sets of headphones, a little, like what this has got over there, a little fucking unit to plug it all into your laptop. What do you call it? An interface.
Yeah.
Audio interface to plug the 2 mics into your laptop. And then my second podcast was MC Cyanide, which again, I've got...
Thrown yourself in the deep end,
right away. But I had a bit of a relationship with Glenn anyway, because we'd worked together in the past. I knew a lot about him from being in the drone, and obviously we had a lot to talk about with the drone. Yeah. So episode 3 was my first one that was actually a podcast. So back to what you were saying before with Crosby. So my first 3 podcasts were all done in different locations. My first one was done in Lee's house. My second one was done in Glenn's flat. And my episode 3 was Rob Kane done in his house.
Right.
So, in fact, my first 5 podcasts were all done in different locations. What can I just think about now? So as I'm driving to Rob's house, who's walking down the street? Steve Parry.
Right.
And I went, what are this, Steve Parry? And I was almost going to stop and
Maybe
say...
we all come from Crosby.
Give us your number. Anyway, I ended up getting Steve Parry on much later, but yeah, so that's what you say about Rob. So yeah, so you're 14, your mate's playing jungle. When did you start? Were your first raves jungle raves or
no?
So you're 14, you're too young to go out.
Do you know what? Even then, so it was Jack and a mate of his called Cy that were teaching me. They were
good name for the DJ.
yeah, shout out Cy Cattrall. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I'm getting into this. I'm really getting into this. And Cy was like, I'm actually selling a set of decks. So we'll come on to the first set of decks. They were SoundLab DLP3s.
Nice.
The direct ones.
Yeah, I was going to say they're the direct drive ones, aren't
so
they?
they were the 2s, so they were the direct drive. And at the time, I was like, yeah, but I want these ones. And he was like, but these are, at the time, probably the next best thing at the time. So I was like, right, okay.
Because Pro 150s were the best belt drive you could get, and most people start on them.
And luckily, I never even...
Yeah.
No. I did later on in life pick up a pair of SoundLab DLP ones.
Yeah.
And they were belt drive and they were awful. I think I was buying them off a mate, and after about 2 weeks, I was like, mate, I'm not having these.
Yeah. If you can learn on them, then you can learn on them. But yeah.
So I ended up taking, I think I paid 350 quid for the 2 decks and a little mixer. Didn't even have like a split for the headphones and off. And I still at this point.
What mixer was it? Cam?
No,
Citronic?
It was Cam made to fade.
Standard.
Made to fade. It was the little black and red one.
They were awful, weren't they? Had singer switches though.
Yeah, they were little triggers.
You can scratch with the singer switches.
But and it's still at this point, I still didn't really know how to beat match. I was just
some would say
winging
you can't now.
I was think button. But it was never really. See, by this point, like Ian and Rob, they were already fully in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They knew what they wanted to do and where they were going, and
they were fucking flying, and still are.
They were already flying. But for me, at this point, I was still 1 foot in the park smoking weed with all my mates, and just I've got a set of decks because it's cool, and I think it's cool. It was one of them. Yeah. It was one of them. And I was just buying the music that they were playing, which was jungle, and it was what I was used to. It was all the moving shadows stuff, and it was, I think, one of the very first vinyl I ever actually went and bought was Mickey Finn and Aphrodite. Okay. Badass. Yeah. Absolutely loved that tune. And I mean, I think that had been out for a while at the time, but it was just what they were playing. Yeah. So...
so were you doing mixtapes? Because it was tapes back then, wasn't it? Or was it...
No, I was just
so old are you? How old are you now?
I'm 42 this year.
So you're younger than me, so you might have just crossed over. Did you get mini discs or was it still tapes?
I did get a mini disc.
I
did get a mini disc player. Do you know what? I never used it because nobody else was using it.
Mate,
I was like one of the only
boss.
people that had mini discs.
I thought that was the future, me. Honestly,
yeah, I did.
I really did.
Yeah, I've still got that mini disc player.
Yeah, so you were doing tapes back then?
Doing little tapes.
So did you
recording it at speeds that it should not have been getting recorded at? Ridiculous.
So did you have the same DJ name back then, or how did that come about?
I went through a few. Are we going into the DJ name?
We got to, mate. Got to.
No, so it was. I think I was using back then. I was like DJ Bounce, and then I started with a couple of other ones. DJ Bravado. I went with Bravado. Yeah, terrible. And then I went with another one thinking
that's all we got time for today, ladies and gentlemen.
I went with another one that I thought I was being really clever, but no one ever got onto it. So I was calling myself DJ Ray Quick. Now, do you remember the film The Specialist?
Vaguely.
Yeah. So in the film The Specialist, his name was Ray Quick.
Right, okay.
And it was one of the action films I used to watch when I was a kid. So I was like, DJ Ray Quick. And when people were like, well, why are you called Ray Quick? Because I'm the Specialist. Yeah.
I'm the milkman because I always deliver.
that didn't last very long.
Yeah, thankfully.
But the whole DJing thing, it never really hit me radar, I never thought this is what I want to do as a career, or even that I could. It wasn't, do you know what I mean? It was just a hobby. It was just something I was doing. And again, I was still more 1 foot into doing other shit that I shouldn't have been doing.
Fully committed to it, yeah. But that's just part of growing up, I suppose.
It wasn't even that I wasn't committed to it. It was just that I never got into it that much where I seen it as, hold on, this is a better career path than a 9 to 5 doing something I hate. It just never clocked it kind of thing.
That's where Ian and Rob fucking smashed it, because very early on they went, we can do, I mean, they were both fucking really good anyway, but they both picked it up and ran with it. And fucking fair play to them. You know,
I
they're
think
still,
as
still
well,
smashing it now.
Ian had influences in his life. His sister was seeing Mike.
Out from Entrance, yeah.
That's it, yeah. So
I think the phrase he used is Mike was
Bang it.
bumming. The phrase he used is Mike was bumming his sister.
But I think it's important to have, influential people in your life to guide you in this sort of scenario. And I think, especially DJing, it's so closed off. People don't really want to help each other.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
It's bad. So I think, having somebody to guide you and go, look, this is what you could do. This is what it could open up, and you could do that. And I never had that. So it was always just a bit of a hobby for me. It was only when I got to about 19. Now I'd already played a gig, but it was still didn't hit me radar. I was like 15. I used to go to Benidorm, and I was already mixing at home, and I'd clocked it, and I'd learned how to beat match and all of this. And when I went to Benidorm, family holidays, and we had an apartment out there, a flat out there that we'd go and stay in. And I just used to go to the club and just watch the DJ, just stand there, because it was on my own. I didn't know no one. My mum and her fella or whatever. So I just used to stand at the DJ box, and after the course of a couple of... The guy just clocked me, and I said, oh no, I can DJ and all of this. And he was like, can you? Yeah, okay. And we got talking. And then by the end of the holiday, he was like, come on. Yeah, and he just let me have a go. He said, can you mix? I was like, yeah. No.
Oh,
no.
Amazing.
I was like 15. He was, no, I can't remember.
Did he touch you?
No, unfortunately.
Sadly.
No. I've heard that's how you get ahead. I wore my best miniskirt and everything. But he said, can you mix, can you? And I was like, yeah. He said, come on then. And he gave me this record, and he went, go on then, because it was still vinyl back then. And I'd done it, mixed it in, blah, 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 brought it out. And
I'm going for a piss, leave it on.
No, but he only let me do the one.
Yeah.
He let me, but he was like, fair play, mate. And he took the record off, put it in a sleeve, and give me the record.
Fuck off.
Yeah, and just
Have you still got that to this day?
I've got it somewhere, yeah. And it wasn't nothing, it wasn't
but
like...
it's got a whole sentimental value,
it was a
doesn't it?
completely random house track that I don't think I've ever heard it since.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've still got it somewhere, and that's always just stuck with me.
So that was your first ever gig. So
yeah,
we touched on it there. Andy Demize.
No,
Where is the name?
We're going into that early.
Yes, we're going to go into that now. Right now.
So let's clear this up, shall we? So I know a guy called
Can the
Liam.
real Andy Demize please stand up?
Let's clear this up once and for all, Mr. Hickey. I was introduced to a guy, must have been about 17, 18. He was a little bit older than me, and I was chefing at the time. And I'd just come back. I was living in London for a while. I'd just moved back. I got a job. And I just started DJing properly, got myself some techniques, and I was getting a bit more serious into it. And I got introduced to this guy, Liam. And he was a DJ, and he was collected vinyl. And I didn't really know anybody else, because by this time, Ian and all of them, they're all off doing their thing. I didn't know anybody else that was still bedroom DJ level. So I just met up with this guy, and I used to go around mixing with him. And then the names thing came up, and he was like, what about AA47? And I was like, no, too cheesy, blah, blah, blah. And then the name Demize came up. Right, as a mute, and we were like, Demize, and I was like, I really like that. And he said, you can't use that because there's already another DJ Demize. Now at this time, I just went, okay, yeah, that's the done thing to do. Yeah. You don't copy someone. Okay, so we just brushed it off. Me and this Liam guy, went our separate ways in life and all this kind of thing. And it was only when a good few years later that I started doing hardcore, and I needed a different alias for hardcore, and I thought, and the name just came up again, Demize, and I thought, you know what? And I searched on the internet, and I was like, this other Demize, he's in Australia.
He's not a household name, yeah.
He's in Australia. He's not. He's known, but he's in Australia and he does hip hop. Yeah. And I thought, no one's getting us confused.
Yeah.
There's no one, So I started using it. I've been using it for like 20 odd years. Now me and this Liam, we reconnected again about 5-6 years later. And he seen my name on my Facebook and all of this. And he said, oh, you went with the name Demize. And we laughed it off. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks ago, he started kicking off and writing on promoters' events and stuff. I chose that name. That was my name. I've been DJ Demize for 30 years. The guy's never played a gig in his life.
Wow.
Like, but I milked it, to be honest. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And the amount of traffic it brought, and people were messaging me going, I am living for this. Like, when's the next update? But he just started taking it a little bit too far. He was commenting on flyers from like 10 years ago. And I'm like, can you not see how long I've been using that name?
Yeah.
Like, you're commenting.
If you're not using it, and let's be honest, a fucking name's a name, you know, I mean...
It's stupid. How many people have got the same names?
Let's be honest, I mean, forget like mainstream. How many DJ Vipers you think are out there?
Yeah.
Because it's quite a, you know, it's a catchy little name, isn't it?
I wrote down a couple of years ago for me MC when I was trying to think of MC names, and I had MC Viper. That was going to be my MC name.
Well, he's in Blackout Crew, isn't
he? Me mate come round and he went, there's already a Viper, and I was like, fuck, maybe that's why it sounded so familiar.
Yeah. So I know there's a Viper XXL who's like a hardcore DJ. Plays like fucking Gabon. I think he plays like Gabon, something like that. And there's probably DJ Vipers everywhere. I mean,
there's loads of them. Look at the energies.
Yeah.
Look at the storms. There's loads of. It's ridiculous, and it just. I don't know. It ended up getting to me because he wasn't leaving it at first. It was all a bit of a joke, and I was like, I don't know what you're getting so upset for. You know, like, what are you doing here?
I don't understand if he was
carried on
from the similar area in similar genres, but this
is one of the things he said. He said, "Well, when you were in Spain, I didn't mind because you were in another country and whatever. You decided to He said when you went to Spain, you decided to take that name." Well, no, I've been using that name for literally 20 odd years. And he was like, but now you're back in this area. We can't have two Demizes in the same area. And I was like, you're not even a DJ, mate.
Yeah.
Like you are. You've got decks, but you've never played a gig in your life. You never will.
So guess what? When the name's on the flyer, it's me. There you go. End of conversation.
Yeah, and I made it a bit of a joke, but it was sad that he sort of took that.
It is. But people like to be offended, don't they? But back to the DJ names. When I had, I think I've told this on a previous podcast, but you know, this is going to hit some new viewers, so yeah, I'll have a little talk about this. So when I first started DJing, you obviously didn't have a name. What am I going to call myself? And I had a drone poster on my wall where my decks were, and it was a resurrection night. So resurrection, and they'd circled the word res because that's the abbreviation for resurrection. So I thought, I'll have the rest. So for a very, very short period of time, I was DJ Erection.
Coming in your ears, it's DJ Erection.
As a man of 48, that's not a very good name to have, is it? So yeah, that didn't last too long, thankfully. Moving forward, my granddad, who was said passed away when I was 13, and obviously one of the things I got from him was record collection, many of which was, you know, stuff I would never play. But he was fanatical on Top Gun. He actually used to make model planes, and he actually got buried with his F-14 and his Tomcat on his chest. He got buried with that. He loved Top Gun. Anyway, so I had the Top Gun theme music, the original soundtrack album. The guitar tuning, down. So I had that on a 45, mixing it with Misha and Tim Access. My mate Kev Mack, who was by that time still going under the name Kev Mack, later changed the name to DJ Promo. And I turned to him and said, hey, I said, me and you can be the Top Gun DJs. You can be Iceman, I'll be Viper. That's how mine came about. And then, like a lot of people do, like Kev Energy and Chris Unknown, I put my first name onto it because I was DJ Viper up until about 2000, and then I walked away, come back, and I found people referring to me as, you know, J Viper.
Yeah.
So I thought, it's okay. And at the time, Kev Energy had done it because he was DJ Energy and he became Kev Energy, and I think Chris Unknown had as well. I thought, I'm getting a bit mature now, you know, I'm in my 20s, you know, fucking mature now. I'd say it out there.
Drop DJ. Do you know what I think it was, though? I think it was more when, going back to when we first started and it was all vinyl and not many people could do it. The thing with DJing with vinyl, you either could or you couldn't.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to be a DJ back then. So using
you wanted
the name DJ something, it was cool. But then I think as time's progressed and now anybody can do it and everybody's a DJ, it became a cliche and it became... So people started dropping that and putting their first names
It's
to
weird,
make it sound a bit more cool, and branding became a thing. So, But I prefer the Andy Demize.
So your first official gig was in Benidorm.
It wasn't.
Shout to the late Sticky Vicky.
It wasn't, but it was just that was my first experience of ever DJing in that environment.
So back to the UK, when was your first actual gig?
So, this is how I met Jenko as well.
Okay.
It just got to a point where I was fed up of just working, chefing, the stress of it all. As a young lad, and the stress is monumental, do you know what I mean? A lot more than when you progress, sort of thing. And I remember just saying, I was seeing this bird at the time, and I was like, I want to be a DJ, I want to be a DJ. I want to try and pursue this. And she pushed me to it, and she was like, do it then, do it. And I was like, I don't even know where to start. So there was a lights shop, a DJ shop around the corner in Seaforth from us. She said, just go down there and speak to them. So I went round there, and it was ran by, do you know Carl Burns?
The name rings a bell.
Carl Burns and another guy called Dave. I can't remember his second name. He was an older guy, used to do all the private functions and that. Boss fella, I think he's passed away now.
Wasn't there the fella who did Radio Doom, was he?
Oh, do you know what? I can't.
You call him Dave the Rave. He was really old.
Was it Dave the Rave? No, but Dave, lovely fella. So I went round there and I told them, and I was like, look, I need some help. And they said, funnily enough, we've just opened the shop. We're doing a DJ competition in Hardy's.
Harbin Street, yeah.
Yeah, on Matthew Street. Harvey's Bar, Hardy's.
Harvey's.
Is it Harvey's or Hardy's?
Hardy's
Opposite
or
Reminisce on the corner.
Anyway, whatever it is, yeah.
One of them, Harvey's or Hardy's. They said, we're doing a DJ comp there. Bring us a demo in and we'll have a listen. So I took them in a Scouse house donk demo, and they were like, look, we don't want to do any donk in this competition. It's all house. Can you bring us a house mix?
Yeah.
So I was like, right, okay. So I went back home, done another house mix, and I had like The Weekend in there and all that. Just some random house stuff, because I wasn't really into it, but I still had a bit of stuff. So I took it around. They had to listen to it, and they were like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
They were like, you're not a Scouse house DJ, mate. You're a house DJ. So from that, I was like, oh, okay.
Am I?
Okay, am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they said, right, sound, you can do the competition. And Jenko was in the competition as well. And he lived around the corner. So we'd met up.
So
now,
what year were you talking about here? Early 2000s?
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. So me and Jenko were in this DJ competition, and there was a couple of other people in there, but what they'd done was, we didn't win it, but they had this other guy. So they were like, look, we want you to use the mic. We want to see what you can do with a microphone and all this. And I'd never picked a mic up in my life, so I'm like this with the microphone. But I still had a little go. I can't remember whether Jenko did. I think the nerves got the better of him, and he couldn't pick the mic up. But I was
Shithouse. Fucking shithouse,
I could be wrong.
Fucking big lump.
I could be wrong there, but from what I remember, I was just as nervous to do it, but I had a little go. Do you know what I mean? So what happened was, and then they had this more experienced lad that was, already in and about the circuit in town, and they let him do the last set. And he jumped up on the mic, smashed it, got the crowd going. Yeah. And they announced him as the winner. But what they done was they pulled me and Jenko aside afterwards, and they were like, look,
you did well.
You did well. We're really... Now, when I got up on the decks, they had those Newmarks TTs. They were the decks. So I got up and I was like,
shit,
what the fuck are these? But something happened. I put my first tune in, started mixing the first one, and then I started getting this feedback sounds, this feedback sound. Now, this bird I was with at the time, she's going, fucking walk off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like... No, calm down. And I just stood back, let them come up, sort it all, and then carried on and just composed myself and carried on, done the set. So afterwards they came over and they said, look.
Nice one for that.
They said, yeah, you held yourself really well. They said to the pair of us, what we want to do is we want to take both of yous on, teach us the ropes, and get you doing all of the private functions and all this kind of stuff. And that led on to a little bit bigger, a little bit better. And then it moved on to Yatesy's in Bootle, and
just one-offs or residencies,
just filling in, you know what I mean. So every weekend I was going out doing christenings, 21st, all that kind of stuff.
All that.
But I didn't even drive at the time. No, I was ordering taxis throwing equipment in the back of a taxi, mate.
That's
going
how I
to
cut my teeth
Old
doing
Swan
all that.
and all of this.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous. But then they started putting us in, and it was actually Carl that sort of, Dave was like, no, he's not ready. He's not ready. And Carl was like, look, if you can mix, you can fucking mix. Do you know what I mean? Put him in Yates's. So they put me in Yates's, done a few gigs in Yates's, and then they put me in the Merton, done a few gigs in the Merton. And this was at the peak of Google. Yeah. So you had the Merton, Sully's, like they were just rammed every week. So, and that's where like and then the Electro House and all that, Toca Disco and all that started getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, this is dirty. I like this. So that's and then that just progressed through there. Like,
So that's it. So am I right in saying about 2008 you moved down south? How did that come about, and how did that affect your DJing career as it were?
So there's a little bit before that though.
Okay,
so what happened was, so then with all of the Yates's and all that kind of stuff, then I had, you know Richie Tyson?
No.
Richie Tyson, shout out Rich. He was also part of the outfit he was one of their DJs down at the DJ shop. So he kind of took me under his wing. He was giving me music and all this kind of stuff. He used to do the 90s bar in Matthew Street. That was his residency.
Yeah.
So what they done, they put me in the 80s bar. Is it Fever? Round the back?
Yeah.
Down Matthew Street. That was my residency, so they put me in there. And then after I'd done a stint in there, they moved me into the 90s bar. And it was all a way of, learning the crowd control, giving you some musical education as well. And then what I started doing was doing the covering for Carl, because he had Hardy's. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah.
That was his residency.
Someone in the comments will correct us,
They will do, yeah. It's Harvey's, actually. Then I was doing little bits of cover work for Carl. So I thought I'd hit it, because this was peak time.
Yeah.
Matthew
It's a
Street.
big time now, yeah.
Chocker all night in there. So I'm playing it down a little bit. And I had the manager come over to me, and he was like, this tune here, give me a CD. This tune's like a bit of an anthem for in here, play this. And it was Bamucci.
Yeah.
Right? And I banged it on, and I was like, oh, we're going here, are we? So that's it. Then I just opened my CD box and just started going. So then they reported back and was like, yeah, he absolutely smashed that. So Carl was like, you are my cover now, whenever I'm away. And it was a little bit more after that. So things were starting to pick up and progress. And I was doing gigs all around town, in all of the bars and pubs and all this kind of stuff.
Still chefing at the time, by the way?
Yeah, still chefing at the time. And then it fell apart on my part, because I'd bought a set of decks. Remember the big boxes with the CD drawer? And
yeah.
I used to carry one of them around with me, big massive thing. But I'd bought one of the newest ones that had came out. I don't know whether it was a Vestax or something like that. And it was the first one that ever done MP3.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm taking this, and it was skipping and it was jumping, and while I was working, and I was getting dead embarrassed. And I ended up going round to Harvey's after work one night, kicking off. Like, this piece of equipment, you guys have sold me, and it's making me look bad and all of this. And my attitude was just... Yeah. It just wasn't, do you know what I mean? It was out of character for me, but I was frustrated. Yeah. And
it's just hard to deal with. People don't understand when something's out of your control, especially when you're on stage or in a DJ booth or whatever it is. You're the focus. It's different. I watched a documentary today about the quad, and back in the quad days, the DJ stood with his back to the crowd. Yeah. Whereas sometime in the early 90s, it transformed where the DJ was facing the crowd, and then the DJ became the centre of attention. There's
all eyes on you when that skips.
So
or
when
that
something's
jumps.
going wrong, I get it, mate. It's not nice. You feel like, even though it's not your fault, the people on the dance floor don't know that.
I think what it was as well, I understood how lucky I was to be doing what I was doing, and I was so eager to impress that whenever things like that happened, I felt like a...
Yeah, it is.
It is. So I went round there sort of like, I don't want them to sack me, blah, blah, blah. And Carl was like, stop. He said, do you think that you can do what we do? And I think now looking back, it was a bit of an out-of-hand question for him to ask a kid.
But you'd gone in there half-cocked,
and I was like, well, but not in the sense of I think I'm better than you. In the sense of, yes, I will go in wherever I go and give it 100%. Yeah. And I know I can mix, and I know, but it just come across too sort of like that. So in the end, Carl sort of let me go from there. But he put a word in with Dave again and said, look, take Andy back on doing the private stuff. Maybe he needs a little bit more, a little bit more guidance. So then I went back to doing that. But then I got offered a residency in Southport in DJs, it was called at the time, on the corner. And this was just at that time, early, mid-2000s, where electro house or electro, as kids call it now, not proper electro, was just popping. Yeah. And it was like you had... Toca Disco was still absolutely massive. Do you know what I mean? Dave Booth was making loads. Shout out Dave, God rest his soul.
Oh yeah, what a legend.
It was just absolutely huge. So I had a good 2 years in Southport of a first residency in a club, playing what I wanted to play and getting into a certain type of music.
And there's a lot to be said for that. Like you just said, that playing what you want to play.
Yeah.
See, I could have carried on DJing in that big gap, playing stuff I didn't want to play. That then just becomes work.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm quite a passionate performer. It would be disingenuous.
Yeah.
It's like when you see comedians and they say the same joke every night and they laugh at it.
Yeah.
It becomes...
It's so hard to DJ stuff that you're not interested in.
You're into
Because you
it.
don't know how it flows. You're not into it enough to be able to put a good progressive set together. So then you'll have a flat dance floor or whatever.
Just half-assed.
And that's all about learning to read the crowd and all of this kind of stuff. And it's worth doing. But yeah, that was really sort of the set off. But it got to the point where me and the missus wanted to have a family. We wanted to get married. We've been together 18 years this year. And we wanted to get married. And all of
What's
that.
your missus' name?
Rosie. Shout out
How the
Rose.
fuck do you put up with him, Rosie? Honest to God.
Vice versa, mate. Vice versa. We're both as bad as each other. But we're both
beg to differ.
but we're both extremely good looking, so we put up with each other.
Fucking hell. Where's that little ladder? Little ladder for you to get over yourself.
Well, she is. But yeah, we decided we wanted to have kids and get married, but we didn't want to do it up north. Now I'm very proud of where I'm from and all of this kind of stuff. But
however, it's not the best place to bring a kid up sometimes. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's got its downfalls as every city has.
Yeah, so we went down to Bath.
Bath with
an R. That's what
Bath
they say.
or Bath?
Bath with an R.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Just carry on chefing down there.
Still chefing. So when I was DJing in Southport, though, because I was doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday on the residency, I quit chefing.
Yeah.
Because I was getting
the money.
150 quid a night.
Yeah.
3 nights a week, which back then was still more than what most people were earning in a week. So I was didn't bother. But then I always went back to chefing when I moved down south. And then started getting some more town gigs and getting myself known about there. I used to go down to it. As soon as I got there, there's a little town called Trowbridge. As soon as I got there, I said to my mate, I was like, where's the record shop?
Yeah.
And I mean, even then, record shops were slightly a thing of the past. But he said there's a market, and there's a market stall downstairs, and there's a lad that still sells all the vinyls and that. Went down there, sure enough. Yeah, lad down. I was like, hey, mate, this is the first day that I land down there. I was like, hey, mate, I'm Andy, I'm a DJ. I've just moved to the area. Just need to get to know some people, blah, blah, blah. And then, he introduced me to a couple of people. And that's how that all sort of started down there. I mean, the hardcore thing, by this time, I was still heavily into house. Yeah. I thought house and electro was the way forward. It kind of got to the point where I'd forgotten hardcore and happy hardcore even existed. To
be fair, it massively fell off the fucking radar.
100%.
And then it's only in recent years where it's had an explosion again where...
Yeah, 2009 for me, it sort of hit the radar. But it wasn't until 2010, 2011 that I was like, oh, hardcore. Yeah. Shit. And how it all came about, my missus, she used to love Wigan Pier and all that donk scene kind of thing.
And it's not a million miles from hardcore, really, is it? It's only about 10 BPM away, isn't it, really?
Yeah, no, of course. It's
close enough, like.
It was funny. She said, a donk tune came on the telly or something, and she was like, I really miss Raven. And me and my mate sort of looked at each other, sniggered and laughed and was like, that's not Raven. Yeah. No, it is, but do you know what I mean? But you know where I'm coming from. I'm the same with my bed,
yeah. The 051, that's not a fucking rave. That's not a rave.
I said, we'll take you to a rave. And my mate was like, there's a hardcore event on. And I was like, what? Hardcore's still a thing? Yeah. He was like, yeah.
No, it's a thing again.
We found this event in Motion in Bristol, and it was Relentless Hardcore. I think it was put on by Mark Smith, and we were like, we'll take you to this.
The Mark Smith?
Scotland. Scottish Mark Smith. I think it was one of his events. So I said, we'll take you to this. I'll take you to a proper rave.
I'll show you a fucking rave.
Yeah.
Hold me fucking beer. This
Little
is a
did I
fucking
know that I walked into it and was like, wow.
rave. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a reintroduction for me. And I was
Yeah.
like, I need to be on them stages.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I need to do. And I think Chris Henry was playing that night. And I was
Never
like,
heard of him.
I was like to my missus, I was like, I know the boys.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
it's
And I was
Chris.
there. I was half expecting Ian to be
Yeah,
there
yeah.
and Mike to be there as Ultra Beat as a
Yeah.
thing. And it was just at that time where they'd all started.
They've all gone in their separate
They've all
directions.
gone in their
yeah,
separate ways. So, and there was, I think it was, do you remember the tune, I'll Smack You Like a Bitch? Smack You Like a Bitch? No. That tune came on as soon as we walked in and I was like, what is this music?
Yeah.
This was my reintroduction into hardcore. So then I was like, yeah, I need to be on that fucking stage.
I like hardcore. It's not my favourite type of music, but what I will say is this: you won't get a better atmosphere than a hardcore rave, mate.
No.
And I, obviously, when I've got back into it this time round, I fell into the trap of getting a lot of hardcore gigs. Obviously, played Bowlers, played Back to the Dock, which is more like a drone, but some people still class as hardcore. But you won't get a better atmosphere.
No.
Back to the Dock and Bowlers, both them gigs. Obviously, you got the hardcore room, you got the other room or main room. I think Back to the Dock, he switched it round, and the hardcore room was the main room this time round, and it paid off because it was fucking. It was rammed.
It's going that way, innit?
It's the tide is turning, but Bowlers. You've been to Bowlers.
Bowlers
obviously.
is a vibe in itself, though, innit?
The main room is massive, but the hardcore room is still like fucking really big.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere in the hardcore room was fucking sensational. It was rammed,
Yeah.
and I think put the hardcore in the main room, it might lose it because it wouldn't be as full. I think the hardcore atmosphere, it needs to be packed.
Yeah.
You need to be,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's just.
I've said it loads of times. I've played at gigs where there's been a couple of thousand and you're in a big space, and then I've played in rooms where it's like 400 people in a small room and they're tightly packed in there and it's a sweatbox. The vibe, and it's just like some of the best sets I've ever played have been in a smaller confined.
So my
still shocker.
my past couple of gigs. So I had Reminisce Festival, and honestly, when you're on stage in Reminisce in the Legends Arena, the nearest person to you, they're about fucking 40 foot away.
Yeah.
Bowlers in Manchester, you've got the big stage where the MC is. They're quite far away. Back to the Dock, I was fist bumping distance,
Yeah.
and I like that. I like to see the whites of people's eyes and see people's faces light up. Right, I
When they
thrive
clock
off
that
that.
tune come in and they just make that icon.
And you actually hear
looking
them,
for it
what a
because you know
fucking
it's
tune.
coming in.
Yeah. So Six said that. Six said being a DJ is like being a fortune teller. You know what the future holds.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
You mix it and you think, when this drops,
I'm taking you with me.
yeah, they're going to fuck. And you look at you, oh, fucking hell, here's it coming in. Woo. Fucking great, isn't it? So, Adrenaline Stompers, tell me a little bit about that, mate.
Yeah, so that leads on quite well. So when I went down to meet these lads at this record shop, there was another lad called Chris Schutz, one of my best mates now. Shout out, Chris. And I went over to him and I
your best mate
introduced.
now. Right, back off.
You're all my best mate. I love you all.
It's me. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, introduced
Is that
myself
your
to
foot
him.
under the table,
And he,
you kinky bitch?
no, that was my cock. He was telling me about this event that they were going to start doing called Adrenaline Stompers, and it was there's a Club Ice in Westbury. It was Club Ice for a long time, you know, widely known as Club Ice. Fucking freezing in there, mate. Still is to this day. It's called Venom now.
Is it? Yeah, nice.
It's called Venom now.
Get me down there.
But and then there's a players bar, and what they were doing, this was the very first event they had was in the back room in the players bar. And it was actually a mate of mine that had been booked for it. And he was like, this is the first event. You can come on back to back with me tonight if you want. So I was like, in room 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sound.
Right.
The thing was, right, this is how they sort of took me on straight away. It was do you remember the day that Amy Winehouse died?
Yes.
I was in work, chefing, doing a split shift. I didn't finish till 9. Our set was 10 o'clock. Right, so I had an hour to finish work, get home, get me shit, get to Club Ice, which was 20 minutes away. I'd heard on the radio Amy Winehouse has died.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, okay. And I was checking me out. I went home, jumped on the internet, found the acapella for Rehab and just downloaded it and put it on a CD.
Sure off.
Took it with me. first track. So when I got there, the Chris Schutz, the one lad that I already knew, he was an MC.
Yeah,
so I was like,
friend.
yeah, he was an MC. So I was like, I know you. Do you want to? Can you come on our set? And he was like, yeah, sound. I'll jump on your set. So I done. I dropped this drum and bass tune first. And then I just started messing about with the Amy Winehouse a cappella, just tapping it with the cue, bringing it in, then scratched a little bit and just dropped it over it. And Chris just turned around and looked at me and just went,
yeah. So little nod
just
of
that
approval.
little, just that like, because it wasn't just that I'd done a good mix or it sounded good.
It was relevant to the day.
It was like, you've just come up with that as a bit of a nod and just threw that on your set. You've had no time because it had only been announced an hour ago that she died.
She's still warm.
And he was just like, okay, he just gave me the nod. And afterwards he come over to me and he was like,
fair play,
we want you to play again, and booked me for the next one. And then I started hanging around with these lads. Adrenaline Stompers it was Chris Freeman and Chris Schutz that started it, and I just sort of started hanging around with all the lads and became really close friends with them all. And I just sort of, that was it. I just put myself in the equation, do you know what I mean? So I was then first one in the door, last one out the door. Every event I was there. I used to do some tech work for them. I'd do the door, I'd do running around. I'd just make myself an asset. Do you know what I mean? And then it just became the case of, we were all doing it together as a group kind of thing. And going from not many people in the rave to what we've got going on now. I mean, I stepped away from it for a while, moving to Spain and all this kind of stuff. But it was just a really good group of lads putting an event on for the love of it, and it was just...
And it's still going to this day?
Still.
How long's that been now then?
We had the 12th year festival last year.
Yeah.
We've got the 13th one this year.
So tell people about that then. What can they expect at an Adrenaline Stompers event?
The lineup is absolutely massive this year. We've got Force is doing a set with Jenna. It's absolutely stacked, mate. You've got Sai, you've literally got all the big players. Like there's it's easier to say who's not playing than who is. I mean, Chris Freeman, he just dedicates himself to Stompers.
And when's
he lives and breathes it in July.
July what?
Middle 16, 17. I'll have to check that.
Yeah,
Do you
know what? I'll put it on the screen.
Do it, I've got that many dates for events at the moment. Someone's saying what date's that? I'm like,
so what I'll do it in post, thing. I'll get the flyer up.
We'll get the flyer and we'll put it on there. But it's just every year gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Where is it?
In Club Venom in Westbury.
Okay, Venom,
yeah. Absolutely massive super club. Yeah. We have the outside stage. We have an outside stage, main arena stage. We do a DJ competition. Yeah. And then we've got a room 2, VIP balconies. We've got it's just massive.
I've got to play that.
I've
got to play that venue.
Mate, your name.
Viper has got to play.
Put your name in the hat.
It's a fucking birthright, isn't it?
Freeman, sort it out, lad.
Check me with the Ozos. I'm all right,
Sort it out. But so it was just. So I was just sort of with that group for a good 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
So when did the MCing start?
Again, down to these boys, because Chris Freeman, Chris Schutz, and all the other lads that were residents at the time, Alex Dadson, shout out Alex, they were all MCs. So we'd go back to the after parties and the sessions afterwards, and they'd all be sitting there, and they'd all be freestyling, and they'd all be, do you know what I mean, just spitting some lyrics and that. And we were all just sitting in a little circle one day, and there was another DJ there, and even he was having a go. And even, he was messing it up and all this, and I was like, no, I can't do it. And then next minute, I let out this, and I'd been writing it in my head. But I just let out this little rhyme, and they all just went, that was pretty sick. So then that gave me a little boost, and I started writing a few more. And then on one of my sets at Stompers, by this time we'd moved into the main arena. We were doing the bigger events, and I was always trying to do something a bit different. I always wanted to stand out and all of this. So I was like, I'm gonna jump out on my DJ set and just do a little bit of MCing. So I'd writ a couple of rhymes down, done a couple of rhymes, jumped out, screamed down the mic. Son. There's pictures of me where I'm holding the mic wrong and I'm like,
white knuckle to death.
Yeah, it was absolutely awful, do you know what I mean? But it was good because it gave me that little bit of a boost and the little bit of, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
But then people started commenting, saying, mate, your rhymes are actually quite cool, and they were a little bit funny, and they were a little bit... So people were like, I was bossed at. So then I wrote a bit more, and then it was just messing about with the lads. You know what I mean? That's all it was messing about with the lads. And then somebody booked me. Yeah. Like, can you come and MC?
Yeah.
So I'd done it. But then other DJs started requesting me because I didn't have that many lyrics and I was hosting, but I know as a DJ when to shut the fuck up. No offense to any other DJ MCs, do you know what I mean?
But like, as I'm sure you know,
I go back to the Philly and Trick days. I go back to the early Vibes and Lively days where it was a lot more hosting.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that sort of.
I've said
vibe.
ad nauseum on this podcast and off. MCing's a talent that I can't do. I had a little dabble years ago, as most DJs do. When I went to Northern Ireland, I had a little go. It's not something I can do. When it's done well, it can elevate a night. But unfortunately, there's a lot of MCs out there now. No offense to anyone in particular, they think it's all about them. And again, no offense, no one's here just for the MCs. Without the music, it's just a rap battle.
There's very, very few, and there is a couple of MCs that you can say, all right, mate, yeah, it is definitely all about you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's some extremely talented MCs
very
out there
talented
that people will go and watch them, not necessarily the DJ.
But that's few and far between. It's a handful, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, and there's too many people that are sort of.
The thing I don't like with MCs now is when you've got 2 or 3 MCs on the same set.
Yeah.
And it's just past the mic.
Yeah.
And it's like fucking split for the barbecue, just getting passed
I don't mind
everywhere.
doing a back-to-back with somebody.
Yeah, if it's done well.
If it's done well and you've got that... I don't like it where they've both got a mic and they're
it's
bof
like crackheads
shouting
to
over each other.
And yeah, there's that as well, yeah.
I don't like that. I prefer it. I've got a little plug. I've got a back-to-back with MC Casper next week, which I'm absolutely buzzing about.
Yeah.
I've followed Casper for years. He's one of my favourite MCs. So when we done a little back-to-back at an event the other week, so we decided to make it official. So I'm doing a set with Druid.
Druid?
Yeah,
fucking
Druid,
hell.
me, Casper,
Shouts out to the
Delight.
legend.
Yeah, so I'm buzzing
Where's
about that. That is down in Bournemouth at Carnage at the Barn.
Yeah.
In the Barn.
Carnage at the
That's
Barnage.
next week, that actually. That's next week.
That'll be past by then. But this is going to come out in April, so that'll be past then.
Okay, yeah. So
past tense. So I hope it went well.
Yeah. Oh, I smashed it.
How did it go?
Absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
But we done a little back-to-back the other weekend. We just had one mic. And it was the respect between us.
Exactly.
That you do what you do. Pass me the mic back when you're ready to pass me the mic back.
Yeah.
You know, and we done that, and it worked really well, and I like that. But I like hosting and I think, and DJs started requesting me because they knew that I let the music breathe, and I hosted it, and I threw a few rhymes in there.
The best person to fit your burglar alarm is an ex-house robber.
Yeah.
Because they understand what works and what doesn't. So as a DJ, you know what works for them, MC and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So at what point did you left your day job and explore your college, a very late college career?
So
how did that? What was the mindset behind that, and what was the?
So when I started getting serious with the DJing, it was like I always just wanted to be a DJ. I dabbled in a little bit of production, but I was absolutely terrible at it.
When you say dabbled, what were you using?
Fruity Loops.
FL Studio.
Yeah.
Was it Fruity Loops?
Early days was the Fruity Loops. Cubase, I think I tried. I think it was
fucking
like Cubase 5.
That's hard to get your head around anyway, isn't it?
Yeah,
Cubase.
Cubase 5, I think, was one of the first ones that I had a little dabble at. But that, again, I had nobody to give me direction. Nobody, everything I learned, I had to figure it out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, but it was like when I started DJing, started getting a little bit more serious, and I was making a bit more of a name for myself and getting bookings. I was like, I need to produce here, and I think it was like 27 at the time. Yeah. Mrs. was pregnant. Yeah. We were on the dole. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I want to go back to college. I want to do this. I want to do music production. It's
quite late to go back to college, isn't it? It's a ballsy move, like, isn't it?
And she was like, go on then, do it. I will support you. We will get through it. Do it. And I quit the job, or I reduced my hours massively, and went back to college in Chippenham College, and done that. And it helped massively. I kind of went in there with this attitude of, I don't want to learn this stuff. I don't want to learn that stuff. I'm just here to learn how to produce, to make tunes, all of this live rigging and all of this. I wasn't really
and they've
into
gone,
it.
you need to learn it all because it'll all come in handy at some point.
Oh, mate, every single bit of it has now.
Of course,
like I say, the tech work I was doing, helping out with the tech work at Stompers for such a long time where we didn't have a tech guy and all of this. So I was like, that's all right, I can do this. I can check levels and all that, So... And everything that I learned there is coming.
So what was the format in college? What was the software and hardware you were using?
Logic Pro.
So you back to the Mac then, innit?
Logic Pro, it was all Macs, and I was like, nah. And I wasn't into Macs at the time, and now I swear by them. Now I'm like Logic.
I think
everything else is shit. Logic.
Well, that's it. I've got a mate there, Steeling, and he's producing some sensational stuff. He hasn't got the confidence in himself yet. He's a big fan of Prince. I think he wants to get to that level, and I keep saying to him, listen, just because you don't get to that level doesn't mean you're not good. Yeah. Don't use that as your fucking benchmark,
no,
because
Prince wasn't good. Prince was exceptional.
Exactly. If you're probably never going to be that good,
no.
But that doesn't mean you're not good.
Yeah.
You mean you can be half as good as Prince and still be fucking churning out tracks.
We are our own worst critics.
100%.
And 90% of our, we hold ourselves back.
Yeah.
Through doubt. Yeah. Most of the time.
Yeah. So what? So you're on. So did you end up buying a Mac? Did you?
Yeah. Just
reluctantly.
Just a cheap one. Yeah. And then and took it into college, and they just plastered it full of everything for me in college.
I'll be churning out tracks at that point.
Not very good ones.
These first ones, aren't
throwing them out thinking they were amazing, as you do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Listen to me tune in everyone's inbox.
Yeah.
But it's all a learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? The stuff I produce now, and I've shown it to people that haven't heard my stuff since then. And I'm like, wow, like hands in the air. Like that stuff back then was shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking, but it's all a learning curve. We all have to learn somehow. So, you know what I mean?
We'll get back to, we're going to go back to, because I know you moved to Spain shortly after that, but we'll because you touched on it there, your music production. So obviously we had a conversation recently. I don't know how much we can say about this, but you're doing a collaboration with someone at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is but all the thanks to you in the world.
It's that's not thanks to me, but
well, no, it is, and I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful for the connection and the opportunity that's been presented itself to me. So I wanted to do a little remix. I tell you what it was. I've just done a remix of God's Child, which is one of them tunes. You've got to do this well. You can't. You've got to do it justice because it's such a big tune.
Sacrilege if you fuck it up.
But I had the little idea where in the vocal it says brothers and sisters. And I thought it would be a good little mashup to do the Too Funky Brothers and Sisters, and maybe go in with the other part of the vocal on that. And it was just a mad little idea I had. So then I was messaging a few people for the acapellas, and you were in the list of people with the acapellas. Have you got the acapella for Too Funky too?
No, but I'm not. I might know someone who might.
Yeah, so obviously, the connection there. Now, I used to go to Paradox, one of my first. I mean, we've skipped way past all that.
Yeah,
but the Paradox.
We're going to go back, don't we?
I used to, the Paradox, mate, Thursday, Friday, Saturday from the age of about 15, 14, 15. Main events, Radio City, all of that. I absolutely loved the place.
The main event, Davey T.
Davey T, mate, was just the main man, wasn't he, back then?
Still smashing it now,
Davey T, one of them. And I seen them live. So the video of that track, I was there, mate. I was there. Wow. He said to me, that was filmed in the main event. I said, I never missed one of them, mate.
Yeah,
never missed one of them. I was definitely there. But so obviously I couldn't get hold of the Too Funky 2 acapellas, and me and Dave had a little chat, and he ended up phoning me, didn't he?
Yeah.
Shaking onto the phone. All right, Dave.
It's mad, isn't it? Because I've just go back a little bit. So when Dave did my podcast, I said, we can do it via Zoom or we can do it face to face. He said, I'll come to yours. I was like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Davey T's coming to my house.
Yeah.
He turned up and I think he had a fucking Range Rover, I think it was. I can't remember. And he's fucking cool as fuck. And I said this quite openly to him. And I said, I'll be dead honest with you. I said, I always thought you were a bit of a prick. I'm not going to lie. I said, I'll tell you for why. And I told this to him. He's a fucking lovely guy, Dave. And I think it was the Paradox, might have been the Buzz. And he was playing an Evolution record because I seen the logo. And I was this fucking 18, 19-year-old kid, hey, mate, what's that? What? I said, what are you playing there? And he went, it's just something I made, lad. And I thought, you fucking prick. It's fucking not. It's Evolution Records. But looking back, I was just a pest.
Yeah. He just want.
And I said that to us. I always thought you were a bit of a fucking knob.
We all are, though, mate.
I'm quite happy to say I was completely wrong. He's one of the fucking nicest guys in the industry.
Fella.
So knowledgeable as well.
Lovely
so back to just jumped on there. I do apologise.
Yeah, no. So obviously we couldn't get hold of those acapellas, and Dave had a little idea, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, there was something that he wanted remixing, bringing up to date, and I've been bespoke with the opportunity
Yeah, so we won't name what it is, but it's going quite well. I've had a little sample.
Going really well, mate. Yeah.
So you've done a remake of it, and you're doing a remix as well.
We're doing a remake, which is sort of a like for like, bringing it, cleaning
Fresh,
it up.
yeah.
And then we're gonna do some variations. We'll do the Scouse House, we'll do the Donk, we'll do the sort of Ibiza slower 135 mix and stuff like that. But it's just really nice to be working with him and collaborating with him, and it's great. He'll message me every day. I've just had this little idea, or he'll send me a little clip of a tune. What about something about with this vibe? And we're in the talks.
How that came
vocals.
about, I'll just give the viewers all a little insight. So you said to me, "Can you get the a cappella for Brothers and Sisters?" I said, "I haven't got it." I said, "But I think I might know somebody who might." Reached out to Dave. He said, "Hi mate, hope you're well, blah blah blah." And he said, "I haven't got them." He said, "They'll be with the record label." He said, "But I've got another idea. I want to remix. Do you think this guy's up for it?" And I'd heard some of your stuff, and I was like, I knew in me, Andy's definitely up for this. So I said, "I've got a mate there." I said, "Andy," I said, "he's fucking shit hot. Like, he does some really good stuff. Is he local?" "Yeah, I think so." And I fucking knew you weren't. I half knew you weren't. And
I'd still say Chester's local. Though.
Yeah. I went, "Yeah, I think so." I said, "He's from Liverpool, like." He said, "But is he local now?" "He's from Liverpool, like." Trying to avoid the question.
I've seen that in the messages.
Trying to avoid the question because I didn't want to. So then, God love him, Dave got back to me and said, "Oh, I've just seen this thing there. I don't think he's local. Thanks. Do you know anyone else?" And I thought, "No, you can fuck off. I'm one of them. I don't want to take no for an answer." So I messaged you and I said, "I really shouldn't be doing this." I said, "But here's his number, ring him. Pretend you haven't spoke to me, just fucking ring him." And I knew once you spoke to him and he heard your passion and your knowledge, I knew it would work. And I was in work. I remember it was late. I think it was a Thursday or Friday. I was on late. I was in work. I kept looking at my watch, waiting for them. And then he's both pretty much the same time messaging me saying, "Just get off the phone, thanks." And I was like, "Oh, it's fucking work. I was fucking made up." It's like when you hook up to your mates and they end up getting married, you're fucking made up. I saw it that. I mean, I was fucking made up because he found who he wanted, you found what you wanted. Great opportunity for you. Great opportunity for them. I was just fucking glad this fucking come off, mate.
No, it is. It's wicked. And do you know what? Even if the tracks that we make aren't the right ones,
you've got that connection now.
We've got that connection now, and it's been wicked working with them. And I've felt like a little bit of a fanboy at points, but now it's like it's like a ring me. "All right, Dave, you're all right, mate."
Yeah.
And we're just connecting. Do you know what I mean? We've both got a bit of. I mean, he's full of enthusiasm, isn't he? He always has been.
He said to me quite openly, either on or off the podcast, I think it was on the podcast, he said, "If you go in the studio and you don't think you're making a fucking hit record,
delete it.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time."
Yeah.
Because he is a fucking hit machine, isn't he? Let's be honest, he's fucking... He's like got the Midas touch, and he's like fucking the Scarlet in a way. Wherever he puts his fucking hand to, fucking works.
Yeah. You can't force it, can you? That's the thing.
So going back to slightly before, so just before COVID hit, you moved to Spain. What was the mindset behind that? And did the COVID thing put a fucking spanner in the works for you?
So I've always wanted to move back to Spain. I said to my missus 17 years ago when we first met, 18 years ago, I said, "We're moving to Spain." She said, "Well, no."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, okay." So it took me 14 years
to convince her.
To convince her. This one day, she just rang me. She was like, "I'm ready."
Yeah.
This was like 2015. So then we were like, right, okay, let's plan this. And we took a good 2 years planning it, researching areas and all this kind of stuff. And it was November 2019. Yeah, mate, packed up, mate. And we packed up our house. And we rented a van, packed it up. They flew. I drove with me mate. Yeah. Like a Paddy and...
Max and Paddy, yeah.
Max and Paddy one-way trip. Which was wicked. And yeah, it was hard. It was my missus, even before the COVID thing, she was being a mother. Is this the right thing for the kids to, am I, what if we get stuck here? What if this, what if that? And I'm just a dead positive person. I was like, I'm in the place I know I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
I'm loving life and I know it's going to work and it will work because it's got to work. I've got my kids here. I'll do whatever it takes, one of them. And for the first couple of months, it was good. And then COVID, just out of nowhere, mate. Like, just proper threw a spanner in the works. And my missus, her doubts about it all and her fears just went tenfold. she just had a bit of a head fuck over it, like, do you know what I mean? Just a mental fucking breakdown over it. Which, rightly so, I understand it.
It was bad for us here at home with all our home comforts. Being in a foreign country must have been fucking really frightening me.
Yeah, because at this point, I didn't speak that much Spanish. The kids hadn't really learned that much Spanish, and it was tough. It was really tough. There was that whole fear of it as well, the fear mongering at the beginning of it. Like, I was the man, I had to go out shopping and shit, and I was scared I was going to walk through a big cloud that was going to fucking kill me.
Like 28 days later, wasn't it? You didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, it was tough. And so our marriage had a bit of a breakdown in the middle of that. So the first 3 months of it, now I went into this whole COVID thing with such a positive mindset, like, you know, on the first and second day of the lockdown, I'm building big tents inside the house with quilts and, you know, trying to make light and positive, and it was just a bit of a battle between me and the missus where she was declining and I was trying to stay positive, and then we just clashed and we had a massive marriage breakdown, and then I spent 2-3 months in the basement of this place just losing the plot, and she's upstairs losing the plot. And it was tough, mate. It was really tough.
It is tough, mate.
It was really, really tough. And it put a big dampener on it all, to be honest. But then we figured it out. We worked it out. Lockdown eased up. We started getting to go out, and we started, you know, building that. And then from there on, her business skyrocketed. And
what is her business?
She does network marketing.
Okay.
Online. And she does digital marketing as well now. This is another business that she's doing. And mate, she absolutely smashes it, mate. She's incredible. Yeah. She's an incredible woman.
What's her name?
Rosie.
Shout out to Rosie.
She's an absolutely incredible woman. Absolutely smashes
the
back out of everything she does. Mate, she would like, she's unbelievable. Dedication is just second to none. Yeah. But at this point in time, when we were in Spain, she went to another company, got sort of headhunted to go to this other company, and then started earning absolute mega bucks.
Yeah, good.
And her wages throughout the lockdown, even though she was still only just starting out and earning very, very little, it was still enough to keep us afloat and keep us paying the bills, and we survived through lockdown. But then I've always said this, when lockdown ended and then her business just started skyrocketing, I almost felt like karma was rewarding us for a marriage breakdown worked out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because then our life went from there to there. We had this massive villa. We had brand new car on the drive. We were literally living the dream. Yeah. The dream. But it was just, I mean, we had a good 2-year stint where we were literally living the dream. Yeah. Beaching it every day, eating out. You know, I was painting and decorating at the time, so I'm out in the sun all the time, doing externals, you know, running around like a lizard trying to hide from the sun all day. But do you know what I mean? We were living the dream. Our business was absolutely smashing it. Both the kids speak Spanish, 2 dialects. They were absolutely smashing it. It just got to the point where the education system was failing our younger son a little bit. Just a little bit, to the point where he was falling behind, and it got to the point where my missus was so not on the fence, but like, she missed back home. She missed her friends.
She'd give it a go. And you'd have the highs and
the
lows.
But it was always there in the background, and I was like, I'm loving life. I don't
like
need
a man,
friends.
Blissfully unaware,
No disrespect to my close friends. You're my friends, and it doesn't matter how long I don't see
offended.
you.
I'm not offended.
But you know, when you got them friends, it doesn't matter how long you don't see them.
Of course, yeah.
They're still there. Do you know what I mean? And I was in the mindset of, I don't need friends. I've got my family. I've got my kids. I've got my wife. I'm living in Spain. We're living an amazing life. We've smashed it. Yeah. We're doing things people aren't doing. We're achieving. Yeah. I was happy. Although inside I wasn't too happy. But I was happy, and I thought we had everything going for us. But then it just got to the point where then the education thing, and she'd raise it again. Well, we're going to have to take the kids back. And it just got to the point where I just went deflated. Yeah. Right, okay, sounds. We go back. As much as I didn't want to, and I almost knew it was the wrong thing to do. Yeah. The education, it was right in that sense. So it was like, right, okay, we come back. Yeah. And we came back. And
so when was this, last year?
November. Not last year, the year before. So we've been
November
back,
22.
Yeah. And again, we ended up having another marriage breakdown. It was tough. My anxiety just went through the roof. I lost my head this time. First time was her, this time was me. And
Is it even now? So fucking bang your fucking heads together. Back it in.
But yeah, again, it was another tough one, and we ended up coming back and landed in Chester.
Yeah.
But it was, and I was looking forward to getting back and doing all the gigs again. I mean, don't get me wrong, being in Spain. So after the lockdown, then it was like, right, DJing, here we go.
Yeah.
So then I was DJing Benidorm in the Square. I was DJing in Javier, working for the Javier company, which meant I was DJing in about 10 different venues. And then I had a mate who had a kind of a social club. I used to travel over and do nights for him in there. Like, I was literally living the dream with the DJing. Yeah, it was mad because although I've DJed abroad before and I've DJed in Ibiza and I've done these big events and big gigs, Benidorm was just one I always had to go back and tick off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It didn't matter about the money or Benidorm's got a special place in my heart and I had to go. I remember before we moved, I phoned Ian Redders and I was like, you used to DJ in the Hippodrome, didn't you? Do you know anyone? Have you got any connections? He was like, Andy, what the fuck are you doing going to Spain, lad? What are you doing? And I was like, I've got to do it, Ian. I've got to do it. And I ended up doing it. But it's one of them. It's ticked off now. I've done it. But I had an absolute ball DJing out there. But coming back, it was nice to come back and start gigging again.
So we are back in the UK now. So do you want to explain to people on the camera where we are, how you came about, and who tell me
the next big journey, mate.
Yeah.
Journey.
So where are we?
We are at the Motion Focus Media studio and office
in Crewe.
Crewe.
I didn't realise how big Crewe was until I went back and listened to the old rave tapes, and you've got Liverpool Crewe, Birkenhead Crewe, Manchester Crewe, South Wales Crewe. It's fucking massive, isn't it?
I think this is the smallest crew out of them all. But yeah, so me and Rich, DJ Hyper, shout out Hypes, we go back a long way, and it was one of them things with me and Hype. Something happened one day, and I'm not going to go into it. I spoke my mind to somebody that was in a bit more of a higher position than me, and everyone went, one of them, and he come up to me and he was like,
nice one.
I like you.
Yeah.
He was like, I like that. And we just, since then, we've just always had that,
Tell me off camera, won't you?
One of them.
You're going to tell me.
And we just sort of clicked ever since then. So, and it was where like we became best mates and nothing like that. We were mates now.
Yeah.
So when I moved back, and obviously I was in Chester, and we got chatting one day. And I was like, oh no, I'm back, I'm in Chester. He was like, oh fucking... And he's doing all this stuff. He's doing all of his motion focus. And I'm watching him online. I think that's how we came to connect again. He was doing all of this motion focus media and doing what he was doing all the Rise of the Foot Soldier stuff. And I think I messaged him one day and I was like, mate, I'm really fucking proud of you.
Yeah.
You're absolutely smashing it. Your content is brilliant, what you're doing. Fair play, mate. And then we got chatting again and I was like, I'm only in Chester now. And he's like, well, I'm Crewe. And I was like... You're only fucking 45 minutes away. It's like, I'm coming over.
Yeah.
So I came over one day and we just sat. He said he invited me to do a podcast for painting and decorating, like a little business podcast. And I came over here and we literally sat here for about 8 hours. Didn't even do the podcast. Just sat here, just gabbing. And he's telling me about what he's got going on and all of this kind of stuff. And he's doing a movie and all of this. He's written a movie and I'm just like, just in awe sitting here. And I was like... So then I said, I've done a bit of acting in my time and I've done a couple of movies, and I started showing him these short movies that we've made, and I was an AD on it, which is an assistant director for a guy, Scott Clist, shout out Scott. So I've been in there and I've had my turn. He was like, oh, okay, sounds. He was like, do you want to get involved then? And I was like, mate, I'm involved. Yeah, I was like, let's do this. But it was one of them kind of things where at the time it was like, just him, a film, an idea, no script. And I was like, right, I said, I will tell you now what you need. Yeah. I'm here, I'm reliable. You've got no one around you at the moment. I'm going to be that person.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, I'm here. And it just went from there. So then we started, writing scene ideas together and sat here doing all of the storyboards, and it was just, so again, it was just another one of them things where I've just put myself in there and gone, like, I'm getting in on this. And ever since then, the pair of us have just been like, we're doing it, and it's... And then he's now started getting back into the DJing as well. He's like,
you might be able to hear him in the background. He's thumping away there.
He's seen me getting all these bookings this year, and he's been like, I want a piece of this. So then, we're going
to actually. I'm actually going to do a podcast with Richie in the future.
Mate, be a
I'm
good one.
looking forward to that. So what's your current projects then? So obviously you've got obviously this is going to go out in April. So what have you got lined up for the rest of the year?
Do you know what? In January, literally in January, I had nothing. I think no, I said that's a lie. I had one or two for early this year, and then within about January, I started putting a couple of tracks out, started producing again, making a couple of tunes, just to try and let people know I'm back and I'm doing bits, and I started putting the tunes on, and the bookings just started rolling in. Yeah. So I've got about 25, 30 bookings already.
Fantastic.
Coming up, some announced, some not announced.
Yeah.
So it's been all about the gigs and the production this year. By the summer, I'm going to want to have a full album ready to go.
Okay.
Just so as I can do a whole production sets, and people have started taking a little bit of notice this time round with the tunes, and but another little project we've got going on is a thing called Core Cartel, which is, it's more of a brand than anything, and it's mad because it's a label without putting a label on something. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring artists together that can collaborate with each other, do sets together, work with each other, push each other,
work with
rather than against. But what I don't want to do is label you, so then you're stuck. Do you know what I mean? Like me and Rich work together and we do Core Cartel sets, or we'll make a Core Cartel track. But if he wants to go off and do a track and do something with sound,
it's not a mutually exclusive relationship.
Yeah. So at the moment we've got 4 people: myself, Little Bry, he's Bournemouth. Joe Rayner, who's an MC, incredible MC. He's took a bit of a sabbatical. He's just come back, so I'm in the process of trying to bring him in. I've just done a little mix for him, put that out, like a return of the Joe Rayner. Yeah. And I'm trying to push him and bring him in on some stuff. And then we've got Rich, and like I say, it's like we're all in different parts of the country, so it's like, well, okay, well, you can go and do something with Rayner, and it'll be a Core Cartel thing, you know. And then eventually we'll have a few other people to offer the opportunity to, you know. It's a cartel, so it's only what, you know, it's named like that because it's something that can grow, and we can have the whole hardcore scene can be part of the cartel,
of course,
part of the Core Cartel. Do you know what I mean? And it's all just about trying to push each other, without what's this doing for me? Do you know what I mean?
So it should be. That's all one happy family, innit? Or it should be. You know.
Do you know what? I've done it so many times where I've been kicked in the shin a little bit, where I've seen something, or I've helped somebody, or I've pushed somebody, or I've facilitated an opportunity for somebody, and then they've took it, ran, and not looked back, or not even a. Do you know what I mean? One of them, and it's like I don't do it for that. There's been 2 occasions that have proper stung me and just sort of made me think, do you know what, fucking. But it wasn't that I wanted the acknowledgement. But when you don't get an acknowledgement or a nod or it just makes you think.
Fucking teeth,
just makes you think.
I've done it in work. I've come up with ideas, and I know these ideas would save the company thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds. Yeah. And they've gone, and then 6 months later it gets done, and you're like, you fucking cheeky bastards. Yeah. I mean, that was fucking my idea. That, you know, I've saved. Don't get on out of it. So what's your
There was a part of me that did a certain period become a little bit bitter.
Of course,
because I was like, you know, you told me, and I'm saying you told me as in it's collective knowledge that you need to produce. You know, these are the things you need to do. You need to stay out the politics. You need to do this. You need to do that. And everything that I've learned from the big boys, I've gone and fucking done. Yeah. And then it just seemed to have got nowhere. And there was people getting opportunities that hadn't done half the things you had, not had half the talent. You know, and I don't like sort of.
No, you're being honest.
So it was like you want it that fucking bad. Fucking have it. Yeah. Fucking have it. I've done things and ticked off things in my bucket lists that you'll never do. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've played one of the last set
you'll have it,
at Dreamscape. Yeah. Just to play at Dreamscape was just like
unbelievable.
When I'd done that, I was like, where do I go from here? Where do I play from here? Exactly, I always wanted Westfest. That was the pinnacle. Yeah. You know, you've made it when you get to Westfest. But then I'd done that and I was like, just play Dreamscape.
Yeah.
Fuck Westfest. So now I'm at the stage where I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm got a little bit more
definitely
of a different
older.
mind. Definitely older.
They're not so wiser, like, but
definitely older. But I'm like, now I just want to do it for fun. I want to do the thing. I want to do the
And
things
you'll probably
I shouldn't have
find
done.
by having that mindset, it will work out better.
Yeah.
Because it's not so serious. It's not so, you're not saying you're not focused, because you're probably more focused. But
100% more
as you said
focused.
before about DJing,
For different reasons.
if you're not playing stuff you like, you're not going to do a good job.
Yeah.
I think by being more relaxed and be a bit more casual about it, it'll work out better for you.
I've always loved being in the thick of it,
Yeah.
being involved in projects.
Rolling your sleeves up and cracking
Yeah,
on.
exactly. I've always loved that aspect of it. So now I've sort of gone, well, I'm just going to do that then. I'm going to get involved with people that are in it for the right reasons, in it for the love. I'm going to just get involved in projects for
The sake of it.
not for the sake of it, but because it makes me happy, not for an end goal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And now look at where we are. Do you know what I mean? We're doing what we're doing, which is going to lead to a massive end goal. But it was never about that in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, my mindset's just completely different now. And it shows because people notice. People notice. There was a time where, like, as good as I was and as good as people were telling me I was far more interested in finishing my set and throwing a pill down my throat. And people notice that as well. So it doesn't matter how good you are or what you're doing in the background. If you haven't got that professional mindset, you're not going to get the more professional people going, come here. Exactly. And you have to learn that as well.
The thing is, as well, it is a job and you've got to look at it professionally. I mean, I've never been a bad party head, like, but now when I play a gig, I drive there. Yeah. Drive there. Usually my missus comes with me. If my missus comes, she has a couple of berries and then we'll go home and have a bev when I get home. Yeah. But you'll never find me fucking drinking in a venue anymore, mate. Yeah. There'll be the odd occasion where, maybe it's me, like I'm going out for my birthday, but I'm just going out. So that's different. But if I'm working, I mean...
I normally just wait until after my set. Once my set's done, then I'm like, I'll have a beer.
Well, that's what last time. So we played, I played Back to the Dock and I was on, I think it was 10 till 11. And my missus come with me and she's half cut by the time I finished. And I felt dead rude, but I thought if I don't go home now, I'm going to, like, it's 11 o'clock, finish my set. If I hang around for an hour to 12, I'm not getting home till half 12. Half 12 at night's a fucking bad time to start drinking. Yeah. So I literally played my set and we got off straight away and I felt rude. I actually apologised to Lee for it. I said my missus was half cut and I knew if I stayed any longer...
Make a show it.
No, not that. Do you know it? Sorry, babe. No, I just knew if the later I start drinking, the later I'm going to finish drinking. So I thought I just got off straight away. So I apologise to Lee for that. So listen, before we get to the quick fire questions, what's your home setup now? So have you got a production studio set up at home?
So we're actually looking to move again at the moment because the house we're in.
Like a fucking...
I know.
Fucking hell, like fucking lassie.
I love it. I love it. I've milked Chester for all it's worth.
Yeah.
Now I'm off.
Done Chester, completely.
Everywhere we've been, so I've built a studio. I've had a fully soundproofed studio. I've spent the money. I've done it. Here we haven't got the room, which is why we're looking to move at the moment. But I've still got all my gear. I've just bought new monitors. You know what I mean? And my Mac. I mean, as you know, if it's on a Mac, you've got it. It's sorted.
Yeah.
So I'm doing all right. I'm actually producing some of the best music I've ever produced in an environment that isn't the best for it at the moment.
Sometimes it's the way, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just trial and error. So I'm making do with what I've got at the moment.
Dex wise, what have you got now, mate?
A XZ. Pioneer.
I've got the
big one.
Yeah.
The big. No, you've got the RX, haven't you?
So I have the RX, yeah.
Yeah, you've got the little one.
Yeah,
I've got the big one.
But mine doesn't stink of cat piss. You like to tell the boys and girls at home what happened there?
No, not really, because I might sell it.
Well, the cat, pardon the puns, out the bag now.
Mate.
So I was in work the other week and I was having a bad day for whatever reason.
No, you weren't.
Andy said, I'll fucking top your bad day, so come on. You're working on this sack for DVT.
Yeah, that morning, it was the night before. I was up until about 2-3 in the morning, just buzzing my head off with this. And about 2 in the morning, I'd gone to bed. No, it wasn't. In fact, there's actually a funnier story around this. I was trying to do a remix of a track, an old happy hardcore tune, Life is Like a Dance. It was a Dougal and you.
Life is like... It was Paul
Life is
Elstack,
like a
innit?
dance.
Elstack,
Life is like, yeah, but
Elstack,
Dougal, I'm sure Dougal.
Dougal Eruption.
Dougal and Eruption.
I think it was, yeah.
Dougal and Eruption, but I'm sure Elstack done it as well.
I think Elstack was the original. I might be wrong.
But I loved that tune when I was a kid, and I was thought I'm going to do a little remix of that. So I was up, and I'd done this. You know the way you make a track, right? And you don't know whether it's really fucking good or absolute dog shit. And I'm sitting there,
and I'll listen to it
and
the
I'm
next
like
day.
buzzing my head off till 2 a.m, going, "This is incredible. This is just." I took Axl Rose samples of him talking and put them over the top of it. So like he was playing the song to people, but then went into a newer version. Or like it was mad. I had this little concept in my head of why the audio quality was different.
Yeah.
And I went to bed going, I've
smashed this.
This is fucking sick.
Yeah.
Went to bed anyway, 2 o'clock in the morning, tired, and I'd left the fucking cat in the fucking dining room, hadn't I? And shut the door. Woke up the next day, made cat pissed all over it. It's still not funny. It's still not funny.
I'm so sorry.
It's still not funny.
It is.
It's not.
It is. That's why
I'm only laughing so as I don't smash
I'm
the room
laughing because
up.
it's funny. So for people who don't know, what's that piece of equipment cost, brand new?
2,000, about 221, something like that.
Yeah, it's just over 2
and I only
grand.
got it at Christmas.
Oh my God.
Only had it 2 months.
That the one with it's got the 2 screens on it.
It's got the one screen on it. It's the big one. It's got the big jogs. It's basically like 2000s 900 mixer, but with one screen. So it's the big one. It's the big daddy one.
But it stinks a piss.
No, not anymore. 350 quid later.
Oh my God.
I ended up I opened it up. And
have you still got the cat?
It's around. We don't talk anymore. She phoned me the other day on the way home.
You don't talk anymore in your Apple Music library. Search on Apple Music or
Alexa.
Well, there you go.
Whatever you are, shut up. Yeah, she phoned me the other day. She said, "Can you pick some cat food up on the way home?" I said, "I'll pick cat food up for Prince and Benny. That little fucker can starve." But yeah, so I opened it up, cleaned it all out, and as much as I could, I had acetone in there. But I took it to someone else in the end. 350 quid, and he just took it apart. Literally into bits. Sent me pictures of it. I was like, oh!
On that note, Andy, we're going to finish off with some quick fire questions. I'm sure you know how this works now. I will take your first answer and your first answer only. Andy Demize, what is your worst habit?
Oh, it was smoking. I would say probably being a little bit negative now.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
There you go again.
I know.
You're on death row, right?
Yes.
I've
thought about this many times.
What do you want for your dinner? Any meal you want.
I want big, thick pork chops with the crackling still on.
Oof. Crispy crackling.
Yeah.
First purchase if you won the Euro Millions.
House. In Spain.
Rank these 3 in order from best to worst. Celebrations, Heroes, and Quality Street.
Celebrations, Heroes, Quality Street.
Really?
Yeah. Because I was a Roses man, so I was never really the Quality. I wasn't really into qualities. It was always Roses.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to say what mine is. Robocop or Terminator?
Ooh. Robocop. Tempe
mix or Space Raiders?
Space Raiders. Beef.
Beef? I'm a pickled onion, man. Oh, we're losing it. We're drifting apart here. It's not you, it's me. What superhero would you be?
Batman. I am Batman. Don't tell no one.
I've never seen you and Batman in the room at the same time, so it's a possibility. Alive or dead, who'd you like to spend time in the studio with?
Oh, in the studio. Oh, it's a tough one, that, you know. I'm going to have to go with Michael Jackson. I'm going to have to.
Why not? That's going to be Rocky 3 or Rocky 4?
3.
Favourite insult or swear word?
Cunt.
All right, only fucking honest. Alive or dead, who would you like to watch in concert?
Yeah, I mean, Michael Jackson.
Yeah. That's one of the more
or
popular answers.
Bob Marley.
Yeah.
It's one of them too.
Lee Evans or Peter Kay?
Oh, Lee Evans.
Favourite Guns N' Roses track?
Oh, Get in the Ring.
Yeah, Get in the Ring, motherfucker. On a bacon butty, red sauce or brown sauce?
I like my bacon to taste like bacon.
Fair enough. One thing you would rid from the world?
people.
Red sauce.
Red sauce. Fucking humans.
Yeah, humans. That's the only thing this planet doesn't need, isn't it?
Yeah.
If this was a movie, who would play you and who would play me?
Oh, me. Oh God, I don't know. Do you know what? Somebody told me once that I looked like the fella from Scissor Sisters, the lead singer. Scissor Sisters. There's a video where it just catches a clip of him, and I looked at it and I was like, "Fucking hell, yeah, to do." I don't know. Brad Pitt, obviously for me, innit?
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously, and I don't know, Jack Nicholson for you.
I was going to say fucking George Clooney. Like, but
George,
fucking Jack Nicholson. Fucking hell.
you've got that mean look about you.
Yeah. I'll fucking show you me in a minute. Alive or dead, who would you like to have dinner with?
Bob Marley.
And final question, what's the best podcast you've ever been on?
Oh, you can't ask me that sitting in the studio, can you? I mean, it is the 303 Couture podcast.
Hey, Andy, thank you so much for this.
Mate, thank you.
It's been a pleasure. I'll be back down here in a few weeks, I think, to speak to Richie.
Oh, mate, I'll be a winner.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So listen, guys, I don't know. I think I know what's next. Yeah, I do know what's next. I'm going to tell you what's next. So next up on the podcast, we've got a fucking icon from the Merseyside club scene, a legend, the quad father himself, Mr. Mike Nola. Yes. You can catch all the past episodes on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcast, Apple Music, Amazon, fucking Alexa, all that good jazz. 40 plus episodes to go back on. Check them out. Like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you very much.